Welcome to today's video, and if you're a commercial director working in sport right now, you'll know that 2020 and now 2021, you've got a big gaping hole in your revenue. There'll be a lot of harebrained schemes around how to fix this and how to address this, but we're watching this and seeing, why aren't more sports clubs looking into social media advertising? Why aren't they getting out there into their fan base, engaging them and using Facebook ads and ads on other platforms to grow their revenue in other ways? Today, with me taking a look at how some of the best in the world are using Facebook ads, I've got Ashley Holloway.
Hello.
So a lot of sports clubs and right owners will be watching this, and we're focusing on a lot of big brands and big sports teams across the globe, but the lessons we want to teach you can be applied to anyone out there, especially as an example here being lower league football. You're the ones really hungry for that match day revenue and are probably who are sacrificing most in the last year. So using some of the tactics we talk about today, you can get a boost in that revenue, grow your fan base, get close to your fan base, and also make yourself more attractive commercially to sponsors, which every sports club wants.
Exactly.
First up, Ashley, I have the current Premier League frontrunners, Manchester City. And just to recap...
And looks like the front runners in social media advertising as well.
Yeah. Just to recap, these are the ads that are currently live from Man City on Facebook advertising. They're shown across Facebook and Instagram in the markets they select to the people they want to show it to. So we're going to just quickly look at them. They've got some content, obviously, of the win against Liverpool at the weekend, as at the time of filming. No spoilers alert, they smashed Liverpool. And you can see straight away they're advertising in different, I think that's Indonesian, to the Indonesian market to grow their fan base there. They've got different lounges marketed different markets as well. And they're running e-commerce advertising. So they're showcasing what you can buy from the club shop and showing it to people that have been on the Man City website or like the Man City Instagram page or have interacted with a Man City Facebook post. And this is a really easy way to grow your revenues worldwide and tap into actually monetizing that fan base.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously this is, being not just targeted at people, Manchester City fans or people in the UK. As James has pointed out, there's an ad that's pointing at Indonesia. They're trying to grow their fan base through this, and it's perfect. Just even, showing what they're doing there, but also showing their merch to that targeted country as well. But also when they grow their fan base, this attracts more sponsors. And this is really where a lot of football clubs do become unstuck, because they go for this kind of the Premier League outlook. Oh, look, we dominate all these markets, but it's like, does your club dominate all those markets? And, the way you could do this really is using social media advertising, targeting those key markets that are endorsed within the Premier League, and give you then the opportunity to create partners within that area as well. So there's lots of things you could do with it. Man City are perfectly the best, probably the front runners, aren't they, James?
Well, we've got some other examples later on as well.
Yeah.
And we
but just again, they are on it, and it's majority of Premier clubs aren't really utilising this, and it's still a massive opportunity to do that.
Yep, and they're also showcasing their Citizens app and their Citizens Club, getting people into more content. I think in terms of what we've seen Man City do last year and what they're doing a lot more is partnering with their commercial partners and the activations they were pumping out there from the Man City page. But we'll show you some examples of that, as well as what Ash was touching upon and how to actually grow your fan base and that chicken and egg thing of how can you prove yourself to be more commercially valuable than those other clubs that you're seeking in terms of the other clubs you're competing with in terms of sponsorship revenue. So like we're saying, these e-commerce ads are great because you're treating yourself like a business, and you can target them to Manchester City fans around the world in any country, and specifically like a fashion retailer would. If someone's viewed a certain product in the last 30 days, you can get it on their newsfeed, Instagram or Facebook. If someone's added to basket in the last 7 days, you can again go after them there. So Man City are one example doing this, and they are, like I said, normally a few steps ahead of other clubs, technologically, commercially. And another brand that obviously lead the way in terms of marketing-wise are the NFL. And these are the ads that the NFL are currently running. A lot, obviously, is just flat out blowing their not even blown a 1% of their budget, but making sure any content from Super Bowl weekend is over anyone's timeline around the world. I've actually,
and then improving those number figures, so for next year they can bring on more partners as well. That'd be like, wow, I want my brand to be on this.
Exactly, and even negotiating broadcasting deals, etc. They've got some quite interesting stuff, because obviously a lot of it is, I mean, it's still an American brand. It's by my random shit that we've put logos on. But they've also got some interesting, I saw this ad in terms of, let's find you a team, and you go through like a little quiz based on like what snacks you like, what type of weather you like, what colors you like, and it spits out your NFL team for people that have watched the Super Bowl recently. But it's quite good, and I imagine a lot of American football teams also are doing it and following it, but I imagine the content might be slightly different outside of a Super Bowl weekend, because a lot of it is Madden, merch, and content for Tom Brady. And a lot of this will be around boosting the awareness and brand awareness, but we also want to showcase that you can actually get sales and revenue from this. So the NFL is doing quite a good job, but it's just more of a showcase of, look, the breadth of how many ads they're using right now. And not all of these will be posts on the timelines that you can see organically. These are the ads that they're showing, and it doesn't actually have to match up. So they're probably, and I know for definite, they would have had 30 similar ones to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all mocked up, exactly the same, but for the other team, ready to just press the button of whichever team wins. And they probably would have mocked them up at the start of the playoffs and Super Bowl. So again, a nice little German one as well. But moving on to the next one, and I've got two examples here of, yes, Man City and the NFL are showcasing their merch okay, but they're doing it in a quite conventional way and leading the front in terms of treating their merchandise and their what they can sell in terms of retail as a fashion brand, and treating itself more like a fashion brand, are two esports teams, Faze Clan and Team Liquid, who can see straight away the ads they're showing are shot more like a fashion brand and actually building up that consumer awareness in terms of their products. So even just a few of them helps it stand up on the newsfeed and make it probably a more desirable purchase. Team Liquid as well, you can see it looks more like a normal fashion brand, as opposed to it being, buy this random shit with our logo on, which fans will still do. Fans will still buy 10 mugs.
I was forgetting about the other club. Yeah, PSG would have been a good one for this. But yeah, in terms of what esports are doing more is creating it into more of like a fashion icon as well, which is impressive, and thinking outside the box again.
Exactly. You can see also what Faze Clan have done. They've got a recent partnership with G Fuel Energy, Call of Duty, that they're promoting as well with this video, and any brand activations. You should probably look at baking it into your partnership agreements, and we've got a few examples going to shortly. But the main point from Faze Clan Team Liquid is it's not too much extra effort. For once you've got your e-commerce merchandise ads producing clicks, turning them into customers, and producing a good return on investment. So you know, if I put X £100 a month in, or per day if you're a big team, into ads that go to our club shop for different merchandise, it spits this number out at the end. And this is just one advertising platform. You can do this on Snapchat, you can do this on TikTok, you can do this through Google and YouTube, you can do it on LinkedIn, probably save that for the corporate hospitality when you can do that again. And any other social media platforms that are big in a key market here and there. I don't know about Weibo's advertising, probably not. Probably not great. Might have to hire a whole different team and agency for that. And we've included quite a lot of big teams. Faze Clan and Team Liquid are pretty big in the esports space. NFL, obviously, NFL. And Man City, one of the biggest, most advanced football clubs. But here, massive shout out to Norwich City, currently in the championship. But every time we've looked in terms of the ads they're doing it pretty well. And yes, they've got their e-commerce ads. They're showing off different things in the club shop. But again, they're throwing a bit of different flavour on it. They're throwing a bit of a different flavour on it by even just trying a different type of merchandise out. But
hey guys, don't miss out on our brand new sticker book. You can get it online now.
Just that simple video, getting Todd Campbell to show off the product, is going to do a lot more than say this one, which is just, even then they've got a player in it. It's a bit better than just the t-shirt, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but it's Norwich, they're not, let's be honest, they're not huge in terms of in the status of the club, but they know that to utilize and give value to their club is to do this on these platforms, and they're on the right tracks, and it's hence why they always get a good, lots of, when I see in LinkedIn especially, is that they do get appreciated really well, the work they do, because they are focused on this, because they know that it's something that can improve a club and make them stand out within the championship than the others, really.
And this is a really good example, because Norwich, like Ash has said, they always do get quite close to their fans and they feel more engaged, especially that local community. And what they've done with their junior gunners, that Arsenal do. They've got a Junior Canaries one, which they've done some work with in terms of coding when they had a games developer partner. But they've got different players teaching different lessons. So you've got IT with Adam Ida and geography with Ben Gibson, in terms of, and you can win a message from Ben Gibson, their centre-back, by sending in the completed worksheet of his geography lesson that they've done for all the kids out there, which, again, it's not going to be a massive driver of revenue, but more importantly, they're getting closer to these local fans or kids around the world and doing something different for them. And the parents are going to remember that. And then they're getting a bit more loyal kids fan bases who, in 20 years, what do they grow up to be? Consumers with cards who want to bring their whole family to an away day at Carrow Road or a home game at Carrow Road and follow them around and buy the kit every year. And it's all that long-term thinking that Norwich are doing really well at, and building a strong, loyal fan base. And then obviously all these fans are then seeing, as like this, they've got a sale up for all replica kits. Imagine a lot of clubs have got a lot of dead stock of kits that they try and shift every year. Miami Heat, they currently aren't running as many ads similar to this, but a quick shout out to Miami Heat, who are really good at both doing something different, doing some engaging content and showcasing that to fans to make them more loyal, and even highlighting local restaurants and stuff that the players ate at, and also treat themselves like a fashion brand. It's a shame that we couldn't show those examples because they're not live anymore. But Norwich, well done, because they're doing some of the basic bread and butter stuff well in terms of doing their e-commerce advertising. They're leveling it up. They're leveling it up slightly by using literally the players in the ads, because what's going to be more engaging. And then they're going that step further by trying to get more engagement and delivering some actual value to local fans, which is great. Yeah. Because, and again, I'm going to talk cynically in terms of a money-making hat. The more engaged a fan base is, the more loyalty but commercial opportunities that spring off the back of it, because they're going to be more receptive to what you put out there, and the more you can actually, your partners can integrate themselves into and piggyback on the back of it. I'm sure,
because partners, what they're going to look for is, like James is saying, is when if you approach them, it's like, well, what can you offer? Because the noise of pitch side advertising on a Saturday or Sunday, it's not enough for them. The same goes with shirt sponsors as well. They want to see other value in it, and this gives you the opportunity on a daily basis to produce content for that brand. That this is the other avenue where football clubs are definitely looking into it, but it could be there a lot more could do better.
Yeah, right. If you're a commercial director or you're working in the marketing department of a sports club watching this, you've probably got a whole team producing video content, and you're relying on Facebook and Instagram's organic algorithm to get it out there. And yes, it will get decent views, and yes, it will get decent impressions because people care about it still, but it could get more. You could be showing it further afield. And like I said, in terms of actually integrating your partners into stuff, a great example, one of the best we've seen is Chicago Bulls. And they've got this current campaign with BMO Harris or Ameritrade, and BMO Harris, where they've got your basically creating a bespoke credit card from Chicago Bulls, or debit card even, and a bunch of little different assets and creative assets they're actually testing. I think that's Jay Farrow, the comedian, as well. And all these are split testing which ads perform the best and get the most clicks and the most sign-ups. And I think, leading on what Ash said, is you can't just expect your partners to happily sign a renewal or increase the amount they're paying to you because of fucking media value from an LED board and a glimpse of a logo on a screen every year. And you probably don't like trying to convince partners that that's actually a valid way of, you're getting the best return on investment for sometimes very expensive fees.
I see stuff on LinkedIn, people that work in sport as well, and they go on about a sponsor, like, the great opportunity, great, coverage on a global platform, but
it's not good enough.
It's just not. That's just not. You can't. It just doesn't work like that anymore. So especially with what the new sponsors will be coming into sport as well. These betting companies, obviously, they're being a lot more hard on them in terms of government, in terms of where they're advertising. They could walk out the sport straight away, and you've got a big gap to fill. And they're not going to. And these companies, these brands are not going to be the same. Those betting companies and think of like, oh yeah, that's what we want to look for. They're going to look for all these different revenue streams, that you need to apply to show them that this is where your ROI is coming from.
Exactly, because those newer brands, the tech-savvier brands, and bigger brands now are investing a heavy amount of marketing budget into things like Facebook ads, Google ads, and the digital marketing. And the metric that now marketers and CMOs want to see is conversions and sales and actual tangible results, not just impressions and, we think this many people worldwide watch a game and you get seen in that game sort of thing. Because they can just go, right, well, instead of that, we'll just create, and we've had conversations with brands like this when we both worked in sports sponsorship agencies, is, well, what's stopping us just creating an ad and marketing it to your audience, and we're paying maybe 2% over the course of a season of what you're asking us just to be able to have a logo on your website and do an activation once every 6 months. It's not good enough, and you need to be able to supply similar metrics to your brand partners and fight for their budget. And I don't know whether it's the financial company or Chicago Bulls that would push this, but I imagine it might be the marketing department of the financial company and go, look, they might even have control of their ad account and go, look, we want to create a split test of a bunch of different creatives from your Chicago Bulls page and test which one gets the best response from your fan base. They're also running one you can see here in terms of with a physical therapy site as well. This is a really simple way that you can almost guarantee better performance for your partners next season and try and bake it into your sponsorship agreements that X amount of the partnership fee is going to be spent on advertising like this, whether it's the activations that you do throughout the season and actually guiding to whatever objective you're promising and maybe failing to deliver for that sponsor. And it's
agreed.
Doing this is a much better way of actually guaranteeing that they stay with you, that they're getting positive results. And you can start to bake this in commercially across every partnership you do. And you'll be trying to fight away and turn away these brand partners because it's actually working for you, as opposed to everyone else in your league or competition who is just relying on, you've got media value, LED boards. Look, it's really good, isn't it? It's not good enough anymore. Rant over. And then, sorry, very passionate on this. My job used to be creating media value reports as part of a big market research agency, trying to convince FIFA IOC partners that what they were doing was worthwhile. And it's just numbers made up. Sorry to burst the bubble there, but a lot of it is numbers.
The secret's out. You've had it, FIFA.
Estimates of numbers that are estimates of numbers that are estimates of numbers, and saying, look, you got return of investment. You didn't. You just bought a similar amount of media space that might be ineffective. Last but not least, Ash mentioned earlier, what about growing your partnerships and actually growing your attractiveness commercially to different markets? We saw Man City were doing it quite well, but I see your Man City and I raise you AC Milan, because they're promoting like relevant content to relevant markets. And by that, I mean, they're using, like, say you've got a player who's really popular in the Middle East, Mo Salah, for example, Liverpool, Egypt. Liverpool should be targeting Egyptian fans and fans across of North Africa with content with Mo Salah in. Yes, they're using it organically to try and do that and using it in partnerships, but you want to be actively growing the fan base. And so an example here that AC Milan have done, the smaller scale, is they're using the new signing Fico Tomori to get more Instagram followers from the UK. But one example they're doing a lot better is they've got Theo Hernandez, Zlatan Ibrahimovic to a French audience.
Yeah.
And the king of this one, which I think is great because he's a decent player for them, is, and I'll try and pronounce this right, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, but they know Turkey's a really key market in terms of fan base, and a lot of very engaged football fans are on social media. So they've got a bunch of different content with Hakan Çalhanoğlu and basically promoting that in Turkish to a Turkish audience. They've also got ads going in Arabic to an Arabic audience. And PSG were ones that when we looked at last year, when we did a proposal for a sports club, was they were using different players. They were using their Brazilian players to market to a Brazilian audience. They were using their Argentinian player, like I think it was Icardi at the time, to promote to an Argentinian audience. And if they're growing their Instagram and social media followers and sign-ups to their database in all these different markets, then you can go after the top brands in that market and go, look, we've actually got X amount of fans, or we're the most followed team on Instagram in your market. Because even if you're a League One club watching this right now, you probably don't purely have a whole English playing squad. And one of your players is going to be quite key in a certain market. And you can go out there and advertise specifically to that market with that player. And I remember dreaming up campaigns for Charlton a while ago. And if you've got your commercial team or your sales team and they're targeting Middle Eastern brands or Southeast Asian brands, and they're getting right deep into all the industries and going, well, actually, we talked about this new tech or transportation company in Japan, and we've got some calls with them. Like, it would make their job so much easier if before you even entertained it is you went, right, we're going to invest some money into growing the popularity in those markets where we can see that there's some brands growing, and then you make it a no-brainer. Like, imagine in terms of what our job used to be if you went with Newcastle or Spurs and you just went, look, you know you're one of the fastest growing brands in Indonesia or Thailand. We're the most popular Premier League club in Indonesia or Thailand.
Yeah.
Behind Man United. Realistically, that's what's going to happen.
Exactly right.
If you're not in the Premier League, I imagine this would be so much easier to do because Premier League, they're playing catch up to Man United and then Liverpool and City. But even if you're watching this and you're in the Vitality, I don't even know if it's still Vitality, Women's Netball League in the UK, and you concentrate some advertising in certain markets and then you go and find out, what's some interesting brands in these markets, you've got something to talk about and you've got something to differentiate you from other brands, and you've got a reason as to why they should partner up with you, not just because our club got formed in 1923 and a lot of people watch on TV, we think. AC Milan as well. We talked about Man City guiding to the Citizens app. AC Milan also have their own app, and again, they've got a bunch of video content by a bunch of different players in the squad speaking words in Italian, which I think mean come watch highlights, exclusive content, etc. on our app. And they're doing, you can see here, this is an Instagram story placement. So that's going to appear on Instagram stories.
Yep.
They've got a bunch of different highlights. Again, speaking to native speakers in the native languages. I think that's German there. You've got Arabic, something else. Sorry if we come across insensitive because we don't know what all these languages are. But the point being, AC Milan are going broad and doing specific ads to specific people in specific markets and growing, because a lot of big clubs have apps now because they can get a direct relationship, they can get more customer data. But it just shows you that there's all these.
And this is what brands want to see.
Yeah. They want to see data. They want to see how they can leverage that data, but also you can do it to be smarter with your future marketing. And it's like, there's ways to do it without breaking the bank or without overcomplicating things. And I think we've shown some great examples here of who's doing it, but don't ever think for a second that everyone's doing it. Like, Ash, we've got your club here, Newcastle United.
Poor on the pitch and poor on social media.
Won a few games, but yeah, nothing. But they're not running any ads in any way. And if you're watching this Newcastle United commercial team, come on and sort it out. So I think we've rambled long enough. We've talked about some of the annoyances we see with the sports industry, and we've talked around how whichever size club or sports property you're working with or working for right now, how you can start to leverage social media advertising.
And my advice is to the football clubs: just try it. You've got plenty of content to try stuff. Just start an ad and see what happens. You think, okay, that makes sense. We should be doing this more often.
Like if you
and trust me, 100%, you'll be wanting to do it.
Like if you think about the amount of quite boring companies that sell not that exciting products that manage to make it work with social media advertising and get an amazing return on investment, you've actually got something interesting that people already care and give a shit about. So I think in terms of summary of what we'd recommend a sports club or a sports rights owner to do in 2021 to boost their revenue with social media ads, I think number one, the first step would be with the club shop merchandise that you can sell, create some simple ads and then concentrate on, once you've got them going in some sort of return investment, make them better with video content from the players like Norwich were doing and like AC Milan were doing. It's just slightly leveraging it up from that basic, here is a mug with our logo on, buy that shit. You can just keep incrementally getting better. Second point, which one, it can grow the revenue in terms of that match day, but then long term you're thinking, how do we make it more commercially attractive to build our fan base, is promote your content to local and global audiences and be savvy about what you're showing to who, and think, what's the long term of us building a fan base in sub-Saharan Africa, in Central and South America, in Southeast Asia? Is it because then we've got the front foot into finding brand partnerships there, and also we've got a huge fan base and we can say we're the most followed club in XYZ nation?
You can go all the way down to National League to semi-pro clubs, to amateur clubs. Really, like you could literally run ads on the football club, your page, and you could target people around your local area if they would like to sponsor your football club.
Exactly. You can do it. You can do it B2B, and even if it's like you're struggling, we need some players, mate. We need a keeper. Like, imagine if we did that for our old Sunday League teams. Like, we've got 8 players sign up for tomorrow who are around West London, can play in goal or can control a ball.
Yeah.
Another point, and I think this one is perhaps a bigger step, is start involving your partners, and in next season's sponsorship packages and the rights you're selling, is make it front and center of the activations you're doing. And that way you'll be able to deliver actual ROI to your partners rather than bending over backwards trying to prove media value is worth something. Okay. The quicker you can move on to this, the more attractive and the more partners you can not only sign, but retain and keep for the longer term and start to build something with. And I think the last one, like Ash said before, is like, just to try it, is if you're watching this and thinking, oh shit, we need to get going with this right now, is hire someone internally or pick someone internally in your marketing team and train them up. And once you start getting through the gears of how to do this now, imagine what you can do once you're able to start selling tickets, start selling season tickets, start selling corporate hospitality boxes with these strategies and methods. And I think that's where your head's got to be at, is we can learn it now with the online revenue, we can grow the fan base. And those are campaigns that are a bit easier to start and make work. And then once, touch wood, people can go back in stadiums without as much restrictions, is this can be your backbone of how to sell your tickets and corporate hospitality experiences, upselling different packages, selling private boxes and other revenue streams you've got from your ground and stadium. Like they've got like wedding fun, you can get married and do receptions at the clubs and stuff like that. If you have got someone in your team and you want to get them trained up in how to become an assassin and an expert in social media advertising, there's a link in the description where you can check out our social media advertising academy, where we train people how to spend basically their first £500 to £5,000 on social media advertising without fucking up. And we can guide and coach and take them step by step through that journey to make your ad campaigns as best as possible. If you can't wait and you want to implement these right now, you need your campaigns at an expert level straight away, there's another link in the description where you can book in a call with me and Ash, and we'll explain some of the ideas in more detail relevant to your team and your club you're promoting. And we can explain even more why media value is bullshit.